In this video we are going to talk about top 10 casino games. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Number 10. Pai Gow. Pai Gow is a Chinese gambling game in which players use a set of 32 Chinese dominoes to make their bets. China, the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand are among the countries where it is popularly played at big casinos. Pai Gow Poker, also known as double hand poker, is a card game that is loosely based on the game of Pai Gow. The term Pai Gow is sometimes used to refer to this card game. In the game, each player and the dealer will be dealt 4 tiles, which will then be divided into 2 hands, a high hand and a low hand, respectively. When all of the high hands have been compared, each player moves on to the low hands, and the process is repeated with the low hands. Ultimately, the player wins if his hand beats both the dealer's hands. If they divide the victories, the game is a tie. Once a player has 2 hands that are better than the dealer's hand, the house wins. Number 9. Baccarat. Baccarat is a game in which each participant has 3 options: player, tie, or banker. When all players have placed their bets, the dealer deals out 2 two-card hands. One is the banker's hand, and the other is the player's hand. After all players have placed their bets, the dealer gives out 2 two-card hands. The total of the hands is calculated. If the total of a hand exceeds 10, the 10 is discarded. For example, 9 plus 5 equals 14 equals 4. A hand with a value of 10 becomes a 0 or a baccarat hand. The winning hand would be the higher of the 2 cards, and everyone who placed a wager on that hand would win that amount. Number 8. Wheel of Fortune, the Big Six. This game is played by placing a bet on one of the 6 symbols on the game table, which are typically $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, and the joker, which is the highest value. Following that, the wheel is spun. The wheel is divided into 52 equal sections, each of which is separated by pins that run around the circumference. A symbol, $1, $2, etc., from the game table appears in each sector of the game table. After coming to a complete halt, the pointer will be located in the middle of 2 pins. All bets placed on the symbol on which the wheel comes to a stop are successful. Number 7. Keno. Keno is a lottery game in which numbers are drawn from a hat. The player is dealt a card with a number from 1 to 80. After that, the player selects up to 20 numbers and places a wager. After that, the card is registered and the game starts up. The caller announces a total of 20 numbers that were picked at random. As many called numbers as possible are matched to the player's selected numbers in order to win. The greater the number of numbers that match, the greater the amount of money that is paid out in winnings against their stake. Number 6. Pai Gow Poker. Pai Gow Poker is a game in which the players compete against the house rather than against each other. During the course of the game, the dealer distributes 7 cards to each player and himself in turn. Everyone then looks at their cards and tries to build the finest 5-card and 2-card poker hands they can out of their hand of cards. The 5-card hand must be ranked higher than the 2-card hand in order to be considered superior. The player's hands are then compared to the dealer's hand to determine who the winner is. If the player's 2 hands beat the dealer's 2 hands, the player wins. If both teams lose, the player is eliminated. If both the dealer and the player win the same hand, the game is called a tie. Number 5. Roulette. When playing roulette, the player sets his or her chips on the table in the area where they choose to place their bet. The table is made up of spaces with the numbers 0 to 36 and 00 arranged on them in a grid. There are additional betting slots for even odd, red-black, low 18 high 18, low/middle/high 12, and the first/second/third columns, as well as for the even odd and red-black combinations. Also available is the option to place a wager between 2, 3, 4, or 5 numbers, and to place a cross-betting wager between the additional betting areas. Number 4. Slots. Slot machines are devices that have a variety of games to choose from. They are, by far, the most popular games in a casino environment and the most profitable for the casino. For the most part, the player feeds coins, or a card filled with money, into the machine, and then either pulls a handle or hits a button to activate the machine. The wheels begin to turn as a result of this. When it came to older-style slot machines, there were 3 wheels to spin. The simulated wheels on the latest machines are usually 3 to 5 in number. When the wheels come to a stop, the player is compensated in accordance with the pattern of symbols. Number 3. Craps. Gambling on the number 7 is a high-octane dice game based on the number 7. The player spreads his or her stakes around the table. There are many different types of bets available, as well as numerous different betting venues. Following the completion of all wagering, the shooter rolls the dice down the length of the table. The pass line is the primary emphasis of the game. This line is won by the numbers 7 or 11, while it is lost by the numbers 2, 3, and 12. All of the other numbers rolled result in a predetermined point. It is a winning bet if that number appears on the dice again before a 7 appears. The don't pass line is exactly the reverse. The numbers 2 and 3 win, while the numbers 7 and 11 lose. On the numbers 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, and 12, the field line wins. The numbers 2 and 12 are worth twice as much. After a point has been established, the come line becomes playable. Number 2. Blackjack, 21. Blackjack is a card game where the player and the house compete. The dealer deals 2 cards to each player and himself. The dealer is dealt 2 cards, one face up and one face down. In order to avoid going beyond 21, each player takes a turn. Aces are worth 1 or 11. Face cards are worth 10, while number cards are for 1. A hit gets the player another card, until they stand or bust, and standing ends the turn. A player may double down to twice their bet, but they will only get 1 more card and the turn will be done. If a player has 2 cards with the same number, they may split their hand. So they have to double their bet to get 2 more cards. Then they play the 2 hands like a single-handed game. Following each player's turn, the dealer reveals their face-down card. The dealer can hit if the total is 16 or less, or stand if it is 17. The player with the best hand defeats the dealer without going over 21 points. Blackjack is an ace plus a 10 or a face card win for either the player or the casino. Number 1. Poker. Poker is a card game that is played with a hand of 3, 5, or 7 cards. High card, pair, 2 pair, 3 of a kind, straight, flush, full house, 4 of a kind, straight flush, and royal flush are the hands that are ranked from lowest to highest in order of strength. The player with the best hand is declared the winner. A wide variety of poker variants and versions exist, with the most popular forms being stud poker, draw poker, and community card games. In stud games, players are assigned a number of cards, usually 5 or 7, and are required to use those cards in order to create the best hand they can from the deck. In draw games, players may choose to trade in some of their cards, usually up to 3, in order to improve their overall hand strength and position. In community card games, the players are dealt whole cards face down, cards that are uniquely theirs, then play off the community cards to form their best hand. What distinguishes them as community cards? It is also possible for the other players at the table to play off of them. There are many other types of poker, but the most common ones are 5-card draw and 5-card stud. There are also Texas Hold'em and Omaha Hold'em varieties, as well as Raz, Pineapple, and 7-card stud. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.